If you're anything like me, then you've probably spent a lot of time wishing that life was different. When we were kids, it seemed like all the decisions that we wanted to make in life were being made by our parents. Where we go to school, what school we go to, what extracurriculars we do, what friends we can hang out with, what we can eat, how much screen time we get, the list goes on and on. And then, as we grow up, it seems like the same thing continues to happen. Our bosses tell us what job we have to do, our significant others tell us who we can and can't hang out with, and so many other things that we don't get to decide for ourselves. So when does it end? Well, the good news is, it ends now, because today you and only you get to decide what your life will be like going forward. But why haven't we done this already? Well, there's a reason why most people don't do this, and it all has to do with how our brain works. You see, our brain was designed to work just like a computer. It takes in data from the world around us, processes that data, and then gives us an output, which is basically our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. But here's where it gets interesting. Just like a computer, our brain makes shortcuts based on the input that it sees. And these shortcuts are called neural pathways. And so, the more we use these pathways, the faster our brain can process the data. And the same goes for any new pathway we want to build. The more we use them, the easier they become over time. This is why whenever we try and change something about ourselves, it's so hard to do. For example, if you're trying to stop drinking coffee and you drink coffee every day, well, your brain has built a very strong pathway for drinking coffee every day. So it'll be very hard to change. Now, obviously, it is possible to change. It just requires a lot of effort. But what if I told you that there was a way to rewire your brain that was actually fun and didn't take too much effort at all? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. We're going to cover exactly how to rewire your brain for success and happiness. So let's get into it. Before we talk about the 3 ways to rewire your brain, we need to first understand how our brain works. Like I said earlier, our brain takes in data from the world around us and then uses shortcuts called neural pathways to give us an output. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's actually 2 parts of our brain that control these neural pathways. The first one is called the reptilian brain. This part of the brain is responsible for our most basic functions, like breathing, body temperature, and our heartbeat. And it does all of this through fight or flight. Basically, whenever it sees something threatening, it triggers a stress response so that we can either fight the threat or run away from it. Secondly, we have the mammalian brain. This part of the brain is responsible for social and emotional behavior. It allows us to feel emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, fear, etc. And lastly, we have the This part of the brain is responsible for rational thought and complex behavior. It's what allows us to plan for the future, make logical decisions, and be out of all these 3 parts of the brain, the reptilian brain is the oldest and the most powerful. This means that whenever there's something threatening, no matter what we say to ourselves, our brain will always revert back to fight or flight mode. That's why it's almost impossible to think clearly whenever we're stressed out. 3 ways to rewire your brain. Number 1, start a gratitude journal. One of the best ways to rewire your brain is by triggering your neocortex more often. And one of the easiest ways to do this is by starting a gratitude journal. In a study conducted by Harvard, they found that those who wrote about things they were grateful for had better overall health, felt more optimistic about their lives, and had better relationships. The reason for this is simple. When you write down things you're grateful for, you're forcing your neocortex to take control of your brain instead of your lizard brain. And over time, this makes your neocortex stronger. And the stronger it becomes, the more control you have over your own thoughts and actions. So, how exactly should you do this? Well, all you have to do is write down 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for every single day. It can be something as simple as being grateful that you have a place to stay, or being grateful that you have friends to hang out with. It doesn't really matter what it is. All that matters is that you write it down. By doing this consistently over time, you notice that you start to feel more in control of your life, and you feel more optimistic about everything. The second way to rewire your brain is by getting out of your comfort zone. The more we do things that scare us, the more we trigger our neocortex and the stronger it becomes. This is why one of the best ways to rewire your brain is by getting out of your comfort zone and doing something that scares you every single day. And it doesn't have to be something big. It can be something as simple as talking to someone new or asking for a raise at work. But here's the thing, if you want to rewire your brain, you have to start small and then slowly get bigger. For example, let's say you re someone who gets stage fright whenever you have to present in front of a large group of people. Well, one way to overcome this fear would be to start a small speaking club where you and a few of your friends can practice speaking in front of each other. Then once you're comfortable speaking in front of your friends, you can start speaking in front of larger groups of people. And then eventually, no matter how big the audience is, you'll feel comfortable. The key here is to start small and then slowly build up. Because the more you put yourself into situations where you feel uncomfortable, the more you'll start to enjoy it. And the more you enjoy it, the more your neocortex starts to take control of your brain. The third and final way to rewire your brain is by understanding how memories work. Did you know that every single memory you have is stored inside your body? These memories control the way you think, act, and feel. And the best way to change your life is by changing your memory. And we can do this through a technique called emotional labeling. Let me explain how this works. Whenever we experience something shocking or very intense, our amygdala, which is the part of our brain that stores emotions, labels that event with an emotion. For example, let's say you were playing with a ball when suddenly a dog came out of nowhere and started chasing you. In this situation, your brain would label that memory with the emotion of fear, so that next time you're replaying with a ball outside, you'll feel scared. Now, here's the thing, when we relive that memory, our brain doesn't just bring back that memory. It also brings back the emotion that we labeled that memory with. This is why whenever you smell a certain smell or hear a certain song, it brings back a memory of a past event. And the reason why this is important is because we can change the way we feel about past events by changing the way we label them. For example, let's say you have a really bad memory of failing a test in middle school. Well, the next time you remember that memory, instead of thinking of it as a bad memory, try thinking of it as a funny memory. Do this enough times, and you'll start to feel less negative emotions whenever you remember that memory. And the more positive memories you have, the more positive your brain will function. So that's it. Those are 3 ways to rewire your brain. Now, I know that all of these things aren't easy to do, but if you want to change your life, you have to start today. Don't wait another minute, because the sooner you start, the sooner you'll get there. I hope this video has helped you out.